A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Susan Nganga and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Mathenge. We begin this bulletin where KDF Day was today celebrated with pomp and ceremony at various service headquarters, brigades, formation and camps across Kenya and beyond. The event, themed Enhancing a Soldier-Centric Approach towards mission readiness for national security and development, is an annual tradition that honors the men and women in uniform, those currently serving, retired, and those who have paid the ultimate price while defending Kenya. President Ruto was also in attendance. Matthew Perez begins this bulletin.
The KDF celebrations saw Cabinet Secretary for Defense Soipan Tuya, Uasin Gishu County Governor Dr. Jonathan B., amongst other leaders, accompany Commander-in-Chief of Defense Forces, who was donned in full military attire at the Moi Barracks, Eldoret. Ruto inspected the guard of honor before the special awarding of soldiers who excelled at their various fields. Ruto described today as a time to celebrate the selfless acts of the gallant heroes and heroines who defend the nation every day. He went on to voice of the government's commitment to honoring KDF service through expanding healthcare services in the military, accusation of modern equipments and technology, saying bravery alone isn't enough to win battles, but preparedness. He called them not to back down in their excellence.
That is why, as a government, we have set out 4 clear priorities to strengthen the foundation of our defense forces. We have expanded healthcare in military facilities, accelerated housing projects across services, bases, and barracks. We have upgraded training facilities, integrated advanced simulation technologies, and deepened professional military education. We are modernizing our equipment and technology.
The Commander-in-Chief called on Kenyans, including the political brigade, to work closely with the KDF, according them respect, gratitude, cooperation, and necessary information in order for them to deliver, citing that it is a collective mission.
Distinguished guests, security and development are 2 sides of the same coin. Without security, there can be no sustainable development.
Ruto also thanked the KDF's families for standing tall by their side through thick and thin. Matthew Perez for GBS News.
And now to what's happening in our parliament today. A parliamentary session between the National Assembly, Departmental Committee of Health and the Ministry of Health turned chaotic after a heated exchange erupted between Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale and Kitutu Chache, South Member of Parliament Anthony Kibagendi, during deliberation on the Social Health Authority. Paul M. Minor with the details.
The confrontation, which took place at Parliament buildings in Nairobi, began when MPs accused the Cabinet Secretary of attempting to intimidate members who sought to question the ministry's operations. However, Duale fired back, accusing the legislature of having a conflict of interest, alleging that his ministry had previously shut down some hospitals linked to Kibagendi. But Kibagendi dismissed the accusation, insisting he does not own any hospital in Kenya and accused the CS of resorting to political theatrics instead of addressing serious policy matters.
We have closed your office. Where? I don't own a hospital. And impossible, we will charge you in a court of law. You can charge me. You can charge. I don't own a hospital. You are the people stealing from Shah.
Duale, appearing agitated, warned that he could not allow members to extort or blackmail his ministry.
That is the strategy you use to try and hide. You need to answer a question. Charge me. Charge me. You cannot be intimidating members. We are not Who are you? Let me take this. No, we will not allow you. Just because you are the president, we will not allow you. You are the English. You are the peace. You are stealing from Chair. I'm not stealing from anyone. You and your friends are stealing from Chair.
Kibagedi accused him of failing to maintain neutrality, claiming the chair had allowed Duale to take control of the proceedings. Nyikal dismissed the claims and ordered the sergeant-at-arms to escort the legislature out of the session after he refused to yield.
You made your point. Leave it there. Let the chairman proceed.
You proceed. Don't allow him to chair this meeting.
I am chairing this meeting already.
You are intimidated by this
I'm
man.
not intimidated. So let this exchange not between me and you. We can actually ask you to leave.
I can actually leave.
It's okay.
I can actually leave.
It's okay.
You can't leave by borrowed values on the card.
You should not be this conflict of interest. You should not be this committee.
Even as he exited, Kibagedi continued exchanging words with Duale, leaving the meeting in disarray.
Let's take the next step on that one.
I fear no one.
Let's take the next step.
Nonsense you're bringing to this country.
Honorable Kibagedi, that's fine.
You should not be this way. Unaibia.
Waziri, proceed
You cannot
and
be chairing a
read
meeting.
your answers, and now do not interact directly with any other member.
Nandi women representative Cynthia Muge also questioned the chair's impartiality, wondering why only Kibagedi had been reprimanded while Duale was allowed to remain.
It is utterly unfair for you to send Honorable Kibagedi out and have the CS here because they were the two of them. It was a shouting match between two people. It is unfair for you to send one member and leave the other party on shouting. You cannot do that. It is unfair.
Chairman, we will write to the speaker. This gentleman should not be in this committee because of conflict of interest. It is not in your place on how this meeting is conducted.
Thank you, Chair.
Now, go and read the what you have allowed you to read. Do not make any comments on any direction of any nature.
The dramatic scenes overshadowed the main agenda of the session, which was to discuss the committee's findings of challenges faced by Kenyans in accessing health services under the SHA. Nyikal had earlier presented the committee's report based on visits to 10 hospitals, which highlighted irregular reimbursements, unpaid claims, and disparities between services costs and SHA compensation rates. The report further noted that faith-based and oncology facilities were especially struggling due to delay and inadequate payments. Duale dismissed the report as unfair and requested 7 days to submit a written response. He noted that he had not been given adequate time to review the documents tabled before him. The session, which Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamid Nasir also attended in his capacity as chair of the Council of Governors Health Committee, ended abruptly after several MPs staged a walkout, leaving only 3 members to continue with the proceedings. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Minor.
Well, very chaotic scenes there. And now we shift the focus to politics, where former Deputy President Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has reignited political tensions within the Kenya Kwanza coalition after launching a scathing attack on President William Ruto and Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. Speaking during a visit to Mwea, Kirinyaga County, Gachagua accused the two leaders of frustrating efforts to revive rice farming in the region. As our reporter Davis Karani now reports.
Former Deputy President Honorable Rigathi Gachagua made a dramatic return to his political backyard in Kirinyaga County, where he accused top government officials of undermining livelihood of rice farmers in Mwea.
Mimi nilipokuwa ofisi kabla Kasongo kunifukuza akisaidiwa na mbunge wenu, nilikuwa nimehakikisha ya kwamba mchele ya Mwea inauzwa kwa KNTC, ndio inakuliwa na wanajeshi, inakuliwa na mahospitali, inakuliwa na mashule, na watu ya Mwea wanapata kitu yao. Tangu nitoke, Kasongo amesema mchele ya Mwea haina maana katika Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Gachagua singled out Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, alleging mismanagement of irrigation projects and diversion of resources meant for farmers. The former DP also appeared to take a swipe at President William Ruto, accusing unnamed senior officials in the Ministry of Agriculture of importing cheap rice that hurts local farmers.
Amepanga kulete mchele kutoka Pakistan 500,000 tons. Saa ile mchele ya watu ya Mwea iko kwa store, na hiyo mchele inaletwa duty free, ndio watu wa Mwea waumie. Sasa iko haja gani wewe Kasongo na vibaraka wako kutoka hapa Kirinyaga unaenda kuleta mchele kutoka Pakistan, saa ile mchele ya watu ya Mwea iko kwa store? Umefanya hivyo kwa sababu unachukia watu ya Mlima Kenya. Wewe umekuwa kama Moi na umeamua ya kwamba uhangaishe sisi kiuchumi. Huyu Kasongo aliita viongozi wenu wa Kirinyaga, wakiweko gavana Mheshimiwa Mere Mainge, Mheshimiwa Wagechogo, Mheshimiwa Wadia, akawaketisha chini, akawaambia mimi nataka nilete mchele kutoka Pakistan tufanye biashara. Na ile mfanyi biashara ako Isili ni business partner wa Kasongo. Kasongo akaambia gavana wenu na wajumbe wenu, nyinyi msijali, watu ya Mwea muachana na hawa. Mimi katika ile pesa nitapata, kila mmoja wenu atapata milioni 20 na nyinyi mnyamaze.
The remarks come amid growing speculations of widening rifts within the Kenya Kwanza administration, with Gachagua positioning himself as the defender of the Mount Kenya economic interest, stating that Kirinyaga County is one of his bedroom politically.
Nimeona gavana wenu ameita wamama jana, anasema asizirigiji asikuja Kirinyaga. Hapa ni wapi? Hapa ni wapi? Hapa ni Kirinyaga. Sasa katika siasa ya Kenya, haja kidogo, katika siasa ya Kenya, hapa Mwea na Kirinyaga kisiasa, hii ni bedroom ya nani? Hii ni bedroom ya nani? Si hii ni bedroom ya Rigiji? Hii ni bedroom ya nani?
Sema wanta mkubwa, kama William Ruto anakunywa chai, asikie inaonja mwarubaine. Harambe! Kirinyaga harambe! Harambe! Aende asiende! Mwizi aende asiende! Muaji aende asiende! Kasongo aende asiende! Mambo ya Kasongo ni kufinish! Mambo ya Kasongo ni kufinish! Mambo ya Kasongo ni kufinish! Wacha nione watu wanasema aende, aende, aende!
And now we shift the focus to what's currently happening in the education sector, where Kenya's university lecturers are accusing the government of mishandling a long-running pay dispute that has stalled for 4 years. The lecturers' union said the implementation of the 2017 to 2021 collective bargaining agreement worth about 7.9 billion shillings has been delayed, leaving thousands of staff without their full dues. Talks between the Ministry of Education, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, and university management have repeatedly collapsed, prompting petitions to Parliament and threats for fresh industrial action. Let's take a listen.
Solidarity! Solidarity!
Kenya's university lecturers are once again locking horns with the government, accusing it of mishandling a long-running pay dispute that has dragged on for 4 years. At the heart of the standoff is the implementation of the 2017 to 2021 collective bargaining agreement and billions of shillings in unpaid arrears. Unions say the government owes them about 7.9 billion shillings, but conflicting figures from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission have stalled progress, complicating efforts to audit and release the funds.
We'll establish what has been paid from the data that has been submitted by the universities. From that, we shall establish what is outstanding to the lecturers and other non-teaching staff. Then we shall enter into agreement of how that will be sorted out. So there's no hardline stance. This is about negotiations. But if anyone is doing something that is illegal, then the law sets in.
When did they realize that their figures are wrong? That now they are requesting finance officers and vice chancellors to give them accurate data by end of business today. Who is confused now?
The ministry.
Who is confused?
The ministry.
Tumewashika.
Talks between the Ministry of Education, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, and University Management have so far failed to yield a breakthrough. Union leaders insist that only direct engagement with cabinet ministers can unlock the stalemate, warning of fresh industrial action if their demands are ignored. Union officials now say they are watching for firm commitments and timelines for payment, warning that their patience is wearing thin. And now to the counties. With political temperatures rising ahead of next month's by-election, Narok Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu has moved to rally the county behind peaceful campaigns. Addressing a gathering in Narok town, Ntutu, a close ally of President Ruto, emphasized the need for tolerance and respect among rival camps, warning that violence or incitement will not be tolerated. Other Narok leaders include members of parliament and county officials aligned to the Kenya Kwanza administration. Echo the governor's statements. They appeal to candidates and supporters to focus on issue-based campaigns rather than tribal or partisan divisions.
Sisi tunataka kusema tuwe na amani kwa hii tauni yetu, tusione kama mtu yote anataka kufanya kitu yote, kila mtu aombe kura na Mungu atatujalia.
Na nikampatia heshima bwana gavana kwa sababu mheshimiwa, mimi ukiniona hapa nilikuwa ninataka kubebwa na watu wanaitwa DCP. Nikasema no.
Why are you not coming out to support the party candidate? Do we have another UDA, or we only have one UDA which is led by His Excellency Ruto? That is a big thing that I've noticed, and that is very unfair. I've seen in other counties where we have candidates of UDA, all the members of parliament.
And more from the counties. Tensions are running high in Kiambu County, where members of the county assembly are threatening to impeach Governor Kimani Wamatangi over what they describe as a worsening health crisis. The leaders accuse the county government of neglecting hospitals, failing to pay health workers, and allowing essential services to collapse. Scenes of frustrations and despair continue to unfold across Kiambu County as health services grind to a halt. Patients are being turned away from county hospitals, and the MCAs accuse Governor Kimani Wamatangi of mismanagement and failure to address what they term as an avoidable humanitarian crisis. They claim that most health facilities have no drugs, equipment is broken, and ambulance are grounded. Let's take a listen.
Madaktari na gavana wanaulizana na bali ya waliokufa, na hakuna haja hata kidogo ya mtoto hata moja, hata roho moja ipotee kwa mahospitali yetu. Sisi kama sasa MCAs tumekuja pamoja kuongea na madaktari wetu na kuongea na gavana wetu ya kwamba sasa wakati umewandia, wakae chini, waongee na walete suluhisho ya kudumu, sababu hatuwezi kaa kama waliochaguliwa, hatuwezi kaa tunyamaze tu kama watoto wanakufa, kama watu wanakufia madaktari watu wanakufia mahospitali yetu, kama hakuna madawa, kama hakuna madaktari kwa mahospitali.
Yeye tuko na gavana ambaye anaitwa Kimani wa Matangi. Amesimama, amezunguka akisema ni kupigwa anapigwa. Lakini ningetaka kuwatuma wana Kiambu, tukue makini sana wakati huu. Ni kwa sababu kuna wakati ilifika tukatetea wana Kiambu na kukakuwa na mambo ya impeachment. Lakini gavana alizunguka na akapata sympathy ya kuwa ni siasa. Lakini ningetaka kuambia wana Kiambu, mahali imefika, baadhi ya MCAs ambao wako Kiambu na viongozi wengine wanasimama na haki yenu. Ukisikia mambo ya impeachment, kama mtu atasimama kanisani abishane na kusema hapana, sio watoto 130 wamekufa, ni 80 wamekufa, huyo ni mtu hata hafai hata kukua kwa kiti ya kuchaguliwa ama hata ya kuteuliwa. Hii mambo ya hospitali, gavana Kimani wa Matangi, gavana wa Kiambu, kama atashindwa kusimamisha health sector, he deserves to be home like yesterday.
Kama uko na mambo yako, kuja hapa kwa wananchi waeleze na useme ukweli. Wacheni kukaa huko Nairobi. Kazi yenu ni kutoa pesa kupeana kwa maofisi fulani ati ndio hii Kiambu yetu iharibiwe, tuonekane kama ati hatufanyi kazi. Na jama ni moja. Walijaribu kutumana huko kwa ofisi zangu, wakatuma askari, wakatuma watu ya EACC, wakatuma kila mtu wakuje wajaribu kunitafutia makosa, ndio wanasema ati wataka.
And with that, it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is always 21144. We'll be right back with more international news.
About being a pageant, it is not just about wearing a crown or looking pretty on social media.
Yeah.
It is about how much you can impact the community.
Yeah.
What can you do with the title you hold? Actually, a young model in the industry.
Okay.
I started modeling this year in school.
Oh.
Actually, I used to go to International Youth Fellowship where we had a modeling class. I used to study fashion and design, and we had a modeling class. So I am high fashion trained.
Yeah.
On Instagram, kelly.omuhaya. On TikTok, Miss Omuhaya.
Now tell us about that moment when you had your name that you won Miss Kasarani 2025-2026.
What I would like to advise you is keep going. Keep going. Put God first. Be resilient. Be a go-getter. Find joy within yourself. Walk with pride. Chin up. Smile. You are a queen. He who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. That makes me always rise, knowing that I have something that is greater than what people can see.
Yeah.
Hello, kids. Did you know a year has 31,557,600 seconds? Why do you think so? Exactly. There are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and 365 days in a year. We count the extra 0.25 because of leap years. When you multiply all these numbers together, you get a huge number of seconds. That's why a year feels long, but time still flies when you are having fun.
Everywhere, GBS. Welcome back to the bulletin, and now to the international news. The conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo is once again making headlines as the United Nations confirmed that a ceasefire between the DRC and Rwanda is being violated, with violence continuing and millions already displaced. International leaders are calling for urgent action. Elvis Muyodi reports on the deepening crisis and stalled peace efforts.
Tensions are escalating once again in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as the United Nations confirms that the agreed ceasefire between the DRC and Rwanda is not being respected.
All I'm doing here, distinguished members of the Council, is to reiterate that there is an agreement between our two countries that we made within our sovereign competencies, helped by the United States, and Qatar continues to help. The African Union continues to help. We need your support. And we need you to give us the chance to implement the agreement as it is. And in order to intervene in a way that may complicate that process or create deviations.
The United Nations Special Envoy Huang Zia said peace efforts have fallen short, urging regional leaders to resume direct and honest dialogue to end the conflict.
The agreed ceasefire is not being respected. After a brief lull, the parties to the conflict have strengthened their positions and resumed military operations. The humanitarian situation remains catastrophic.
DRC representative to the UN Zenon Ngai Mukongo outlined firm conditions for peace, including the withdrawal of Rwandan troops, an end to the alleged support for the M23 rebel group, and the full restoration of Congolese state control over occupied areas.
The cessation of hostilities, the withdrawal of Rwandan troops, the end of their support for the M23, and the restoration of Congolese state authority over all occupied areas constitute non-negotiable conditions for genuine peace. Mr. President, with regards to the illegal exploitation of the country's natural resources, my government reiterates its call for the establishment of a mechanism similar to the Kimberley process to manage gold originating from conflict zones in order to put an end to this parallel economy that fuels violence.
The conflict has already claimed thousands of lives and displaced millions. With the humanitarian crisis deepening, the UN is calling for urgent action, warning that without real commitment to peace, the region will continue to suffer. Elvis Muyodi, GBS News.
The Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces is in Rwanda for a high-level working visit aimed at strengthening military cooperation between the two nations. The visit underscores growing ties in defense, training, and regional security. He was received by Rwanda's Chief of Defense Staff General Mubarak Muganga and other senior RDF officers. During the meeting, the two military chiefs discussed ways to enhance bilateral cooperation, focusing on areas such as peacekeeping operation, counter-terrorism, and professional military education. The Gambian delegation also toured key RDF institutions, including the Rwanda Military Academy in Gako and the RDF Command and Staff College in Nyakinama, to learn from Rwanda's post-conflict transformation and its approach to professionalism, the armed forces. And now to the elections happening in Cameroon. Cameroon's opposition leader Issa has declared himself the president-elect following what he described as a people's victory in the just concluded national elections. His declaration has sparked political tension and raised fears of unrest across the country. The government has deployed security officers across the major cities in Cameroon to calm the rising tensions. Davis Karani reports.
In a dramatic turn of events, Issa Shiromo Bakari, leader of the National Front for Progress (NFP), has declared himself president-elect, claiming victory in Cameroon's presidential election.
My dear compatriot, Cameroonian women and men, today it is with deep emotion and immense pride that I address you. Together, we have written history. Throughout this campaign, I saw a Cameroon standing tall. I saw women, men, youth, and elders braving threats, facing intimidation, yet remaining mobilized.
Shiromo alleged that the official results being prepared by the Electoral Commission do not reflect what he termed as true will of the Cameroonian people.
I want to say thank you to the Cameroonian people. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for believing in change. I also thank the candidates who have already sent me their congratulations and recognize the will of the people. Their gesture honors our democracy and marks the beginning of a new era where the unity of the opposition and the civil society becomes an irreversible force.
However, the country's electoral body, ELECAM, has yet to release official results. The government spokespersons have dismissed Shiromo's declarations as premature and unconstitutional, urging citizens to remain calm and wait for the official announcement. Security has been tightened in major cities, with reports of heavy police presence around opposition headquarters. As tension mounts, Cameroonians await the official results expected later this week. Whether Shiromo's self-declaration gains traction or fizzles out may determine the country's political division in the days ahead. The international community is closely monitoring the situation with calls for restraints and respect for the rule of law. Davis Karani for GBS News.
We'll keep you more updated on that report immediately it develops. And now, it's now official that André Rajoelina, Madagascar's president, has fled the country to a secure location in President Emmanuel Macron's France. This comes after more than a month of Gen Z's protest that rocked the nation, picketers pouring out frustration describing the government as corrupt and failing to provide basic needs, access to water, including having in mind 2/3 of the citizens in Madagascar have no access to electricity. Now in France, the president insists he is still in charge. What begs the question, how is he in the tough spot? Matthew Perez has the details.
It is now clear and confirmed that Madagascar's President André Rajoelina has fled the country to safety. In a Facebook Live, the president said he is in France. This comes after being evacuated by the French military after weeks of Gen Z protests dating back as of September 25th that saw more than 22 people die and several injured, the police joining hands with demonstrators in Antananarivo on Saturday, October 11th. Without rocket science, shivers dawned on President André Rajoelina after the move by the police, making him resolve to flee the country to safety. It should be remembered that calls for President Rajoelina to resign have been piling loud as days went by, locals and opposition saying his government has been supervising poverty, unemployment and corruption. As many expected Rajoelina to table his resignation in the anticipated national address, the contrary happens, since during the Facebook briefing, the president insisted he is in charge, though in exile, in a government having 3 cabinet secretaries. On the other side, the military group says that they have taken over. The opposition has vowed to table a motion of impeachment against the president.
Rajuelna, he is not qualified to be a president and to lead a country. It's a person, he is good in communication, and he knows to manipulate people. He thinks that to run away to save himself is the most important.
It is a tough spot in Madagascar. Matthew Perez for GBS.
Very interesting developments there. And now it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into social media platforms at GBS TV Africa's SMS line is always 21144. We'll be right back.
Hi kids! Welcome to Kids Mind, where we learn, we laugh, and we explore. So kids, are you ready to listen to our today's Bible story? Are you ready to listen?
You're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands.
Samson was a mighty man, a mighty man was he. Samson was a mighty man, a mighty man was he. Samson was a mighty man, a mighty man was he. Between a want or a need, which one is more wise?
I will, of course, the most Irene Jugena.
SK the DJ hapa aka the Mix Wizard.
Nataka kurap,
nataka kuimba, nataka kudance.
Give me a chance, mini dreamer.
You're a COVID baby. COVID will give birth to you.
Yeah. Yo lockdown kukaa ndani na my thoughts kulock in. Kanibadilisha.
Ni setback gani umeface like in the industry kutoka 2020, 5 years ago mpaka sahi?
The first one ilikuwa kujifunza kurap. Wase wa appreciate bars, wa appreciate lines. Like hii ni kitu tunatakingi time kuandika.
Sometimes na wonder ka God na exist juu life manzeni moto.
Yeah.
Mbono na acha your daughters and sons wa dedi kwa moto. I like to think through things before nifanye. Gani na make sense to me, see according to the rules. Okay. This song, it was like a personal prayer. And it was through the things I'm gonna face at that time. Mimi, I'm a versatile artist. First of all, I don't like to call myself a rapper.
Yeah.
Neither do I call myself a singer. I call myself an artist or a musician. Napenda to try out new things just to bring up kale ka vibe yenye unaweza sikiza, unaweza bambika na bado unaweza pata kitu from the song. Unaweza leave a different person after umesikiza.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now to what's currently happening in the Middle East. United Nations has welcomed the immediate implementation of a ceasefire in Gaza, calling it a crucial step towards ending the devastating humanitarian crisis that has gripped the enclave for months. Guterres urged all parties to respect the truce and prioritize the lives of civilians. After weeks of relentlessness, bombardments, and mounting civilian casualties, a long-awaited ceasefire in Gaza has finally come into effect. This marks the beginning of a new chapter of peace, not just a pause in suffering. The UN has emphasized that the ceasefire should open corridors for urgent humanitarian assistance, allowing food, water, and medical supplies into the war-torn region. The UN chief also called for sustained diplomatic engagement to transform the fragile truce into lasting peace. Let's take a look.
The Secretary-General welcomes the continued implementation of the ceasefire in Gaza, based on the proposal by U.S. President Donald J. Trump, including the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian detainees. He commends the governments of Qatar, Egypt, the United States, and Turkey for their persistent mediation efforts and acknowledges the indispensable role of the International Committee of the Red Cross in ensuring that all releases take place safely and humanely. With the ceasefire in effect, the people of Gaza and Israel are beginning to glimpse the fragile hope of calm after months of devastation. The United Nations and its partners are rapidly scaling up operations across Gaza. UN agencies are reaching communities in areas that were cut off for months, delivering life-saving assistance. These efforts mark an essential first step in stabilizing conditions and restoring basic human dignity, but the needs remain vast, and sustained access and funding are critical. The Secretary General calls on all parties to consolidate the ceasefire and transform it into lasting peace. He appeals to regional and international actors to seize this moment of respite, to restart a credible political process that can deliver the outcome of two independent, sovereign, democratic states, Israel and Palestine, living side by side in peace and security.
And still on the Gaza ceasefire, U.S. President Donald Trump and other world leaders signed the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire agreement during a summit in Egypt after Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners and detainees were released. Trump posed in front of a banner that read, "Peace 2025, as he greeted individually the world leaders attending the event, including Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, the U.S. President, Egypt's President Sisi, Qatar's Emir Tamim, and Turkey's President Erdogan, plus the signature on the document that sealed the first phase of the ceasefire deal." Let's take a look.
It was a moment to bask in the glory, absorbing the adoration of world leaders. Donald Trump has delivered a ceasefire in Gaza, and they signed a deal to confirm it. He says it's a historic moment which could have lasting consequences.
But the momentous breakthrough that we're here to celebrate tonight is more than the end of the war in Gaza. It's with God's help, it'll be the new beginning for an entire beautiful Middle East. From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all.
More than 20 countries were represented in Sharm el-Sheikh, but American plan to include the Israeli minister at the last minute reportedly led to threats of a boycott from at least one country, a sign of the level of distrust that has to be overcome. But Trump believes that hard work is done. The short trip to Egypt came after the U.S. president addressed the Israeli parliament. He was given a standing ovation as he arrived and a warm welcome from Benjamin Netanyahu.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
For many years, and I've seen it.
It was an hour-long address which was in turn optimistic, ambitious, and typically Trumpian. He was interrupted, two lawmakers shouting about a genocide in Gaza, but they were quickly removed.
That was very efficient.
And he offered these to the Palestinians who have lived through 2 years of fear, death, and hunger, and have returned to lives and land devastated.
And the choice for Palestinians could not be more clear. This is their chance to turn forever from the path of terror and violence. It's been extreme, to exile the wicked forces of hate that are in their midst, and I think that's going to happen.
One former Israeli diplomat says Trump has taken the glory. Now he needs to deliver.
Now the hard work starts, and he's not prone to these kind of tedious, lengthy, detail-driven negotiations.
One of the longest handshakes Trump had with the world leaders in Egypt was with the Palestinian authorities' Mahmoud Abbas, a man who is being told by the White House his organization could play a role in the new Gaza if it underscores significant reforms. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Mine.
And now shifting the focus, in a major step towards the future of space exploration, X has successfully launched another test flight of its massive Starship rocket, the most powerful launch vehicle ever built. The test aims to move closer to the company's ambitious goal of making space travel fully reusable. It was an electrifying moment as SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, Texas, the towering Starship, standing nearly 120 meters tall, roared to life and lifted off under the thrust of 33 Raptor engines, marking another key test in SpaceX's push to revolutionize space travel. This latest test focused on improving booster separation, obtaining of light and re-entry maneuvers after earlier attempts ended explosively. And now to sport lovers, it's time for our most favorite segment of the bulletin, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Kenya's national women's football team, the Harambee Starlets, have intensified their training sessions in Nairobi ahead of their crucial 2025 Women's African Cup of Nations qualifier against the Gambia, set for October 24th. The team is eyeing a strong start as they seek to return to continental glory in the Women's African Cup of Nations Championship, as Davis Karani reports.
With just days to the first leg encounter against the Gambia, the Harambee Starlets are leaving nothing to chance. The head coach Beldin Odemba has been leading high-intensity drills at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, focusing on fitness, tactical awareness and goal conversation. The Starlets, who are returning to the competitive action after months of limited fixtures, will rely on the experience of Captain Dorcas Shikobe and the creativity of Terry Engesa and Gentrick Shikangwe to spearhead their campaign.
Shukuru Mungu kwa umbali juu tukiwa hapa under 20 competition ilikuwa juu, but venye nimefurahia sana juu ni opportunity kubwa kwangu kuingia senior team, na nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu training iko juu na kila mtu ana give in the best because tunataka to win Gambia at home and away. Na mimi nashukuru ma coaches na technical bench na players wenzangu juu kila mtu ana push hard, ako committed na anataka best results from each, na tunajua tukiendelea hivyo tunaenda kupata win home and away. Kwa mafans na waalika wote juu sisi tunajiaminia kwa sababu ya training, tuna welcome wote kwa uwanja wakuja waone the best yenye tumekuwa tunafanya for the past 3 or 2 weeks behind, na tunajua tunaenda kupea the best, so wakuja wakijua sisi tuko ready kuwin home na kuwin away na pia kwenda AFCON.
The Harambee Starlets are set to host the Gambia in Nairobi on October 24th before traveling for the return leg a week later.
Thank God kwa hiyo opportunity amenipatia tena. Tunaendelea na mazoezi vizuri, watu wanaendelea kujipush na tunajiamini kwa hii game ya Gambia we can make it. Mimi naweza sema tu nimelearn vitu mingi kwa makochari wengine, tunaendelea ku learn more kutoka kwao. Kama session imekuwa tough, tunainuana kuambiana unaweza, tungangane hadi mwisho. Hiyo sasa inatupatia morali ya ma players hadi mwisho, tuone vile the end itakuwa.
A win over 2 legs will secure Kenya a place in the final qualifications round for the 2025 Women African Cup of Nations to be held in Morocco. Football fans across the country will be hoping that Starlets can rise to the occasion and revive the Kenya's presence on the continental stage. Davis Karani for GBS Sports, Nairobi.
And now to international sports. Japan has pulled off a stunning upset on the pitch. In a thrilling international friendly, Japan defeated Brazil 3-2. This marks Japan's first ever win over the 5-time world champions. The match saw a dramatic turnaround after Brazil led early fans around the world are calling it a historic moment. Let's take a look.
The match started with Brazil taking early control. They scored a quick goal and dominated the field. Japan remained calm and kept pressure on Brazil's defense. They fought hard and created several chances. Eventually, Japan scored to equalize the game. This gave them new energy and confidence. They continued to push forward and took the lead. Brazil fought back with several attacks, but Japan's defense held strong under pressure. Late in the game, Japan scored a final goal to seal the win. The crowd erupted with cheers and celebrations. This win marks Japan's first ever victory over Brazil. Players and fans celebrated a historical moment together. This result shocked football fans around the world. It signals a new era for Japanese football. Achieng Sylvia, GBS.
And with that, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time, same channel. My name is Susan Nganga, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Mathenge. Have a good night.
Everywhere, GBS.